from all parts of the world. Sorry about that. So my name is Deborah Apia, and it is an honor and privilege to serve as your moderator for this session focusing on study abroad, and it's a webinar the Young Champions Network has actually organized to help all of us. On behalf of the whole team, I'd like to warmly welcome each and every one of you. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to invest in your future by being part of this important conversation. Whether you are considering studying in the US, Canada, or United Kingdom, today's webinar has been designed to provide practical guidance on scholarships, admissions, visas, and student life. We are privileged to have experienced professionals joining us from different countries who will be sharing valuable insights and answering all your questions. Before we begin, I'd like to share a few housekeeping notes so that each and every one of us abides by it. So let's all keep our microphones muted unless invited to speak. Let's all turn off our videos for this session. Please feel free to drop your questions in the chat throughout the session, and we'll have a dedicated question and answer segment. So stay with us until the end. We are going to enjoy today's session. Most importantly, participate actively, take notes. You know, you never know which piece of advice could help shape your future. So without further, you can all hear me audibly. So without wasting much time, I would like to introduce our distinguished speakers for tonight. We have with us Dr. Evans Miracle from the United Kingdom. We also have Mr. AJ joining us from Canada. We also have our Executive Director, Mr. Aaron Boateng from the United States. We also have, last but not the least, Dr. Brian. He's a resident physician in the US. Thank you all so much. So we are going to start with Mr. Aaron. He's not just another guest, but he's our executive director. But because his own story is really the reason why Young Global Champion Network exists, he's going to take us back. He's going to take us to he's going to take us back to when he first applied to study abroad, what was going on in his life, and what actually pushed him to look outside Ghana. So if he's ready, and I think he is, sir, please, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Deborah, for that introduction and everything. And we said God richly bless you for taking up this very mandate to moderate this very meeting, which is going to bless everyone that is here. And probably I know it is being recorded, so it's not just going to end here, but it's going to be in the archives, and we'll also go to the other platforms to bless other people that might come across it. So thank you very much. Okay, so studying in the US. So, Madam Moderator, you said I should talk about um, one, my story on how I did my applications. Is that the question?
Okay, so let me go over it again. I want you to
Okay.
give us a brief summary of when you started, like when you first started to apply to studying abroad, what was going on
Okay.
in your life and what actually pushed you to look outside Ghana.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. So, 2018, I was done with school, uh, like we all do, and I attended University of Cape Coast and did my bachelor's in mathematics with uh, business. But then my major was in math, and then I minored in business management. So down the line, I did my national service with the College of Education, that's distance education. Then uh, at that point, I started looking into studying abroad, but then yes, because I was with most of my friends who were like teaching assistants on campus, and at that point, some people have already gone ahead as teaching assistants, so they were looking up to them. And so when they reached out to most of them, they were outside somewhere in Canada, somewhere in UK, somewhere in US schooling. So some of them, those who were teaching assistants, were very privileged to have those people guiding them. But then I was working in a different setting, so uh, sometimes meet them on campus. So they told me about how they are doing the application. But the one thing that I realized at that point, I graduated with a lower class, that is 2.58. So one thing that happened was when I started looking into the study abroad, it almost looked like it was just for those who are light and those who are like very wealthy that can study abroad, and it's not for like the middle class people or those that don't have like good grades or good class, like they didn't graduate with the first class or the second strong second class artist. So that was one of the misconceptions that I had at that point. I thought that was the norm and that was the goal. So I after my national service, I came back to Accra, and at that point I started applying for jobs and other things because I closed my mind on it. I said, oh no, this is not for me because my CGPA wasn't something to boast home about. So let me start looking for a job. So I started looking for a job. Job wasn't coming for so I came to Accra in 2021 and no 2020. So 2020, 2021, 2022, nothing was happening. And at that point, I was like, oh, let me sit down and I can't just waste my time because I'm one, I'm applying for jobs, nothing was happening, and then the study abroad too, I've closed my mind on it. But then it got to a point I chanced on this guy's video, the Kingsford Onyina. So Kingsford Onyina and then the Fred effect. Fred was a good friend. We were in the same hall at UCC. So I chanced on their videos and they were talking about study abroad once again. And this time around, they were talking about like some schools that do like take second class lower students if you apply on time and other stuff. So I took those information, then I started researching about some of the schools. I applied in 2020, was it 20, no, 2022. I applied for the first set and nothing happened. I got all seven rejections. I actually did seven applications and I got all rejections. So at that point, I was like, don't don't know what to do. Like that is the end of the road for me because seven rejections, money was gone, my time and everything was gone. And bear in mind, during that time, I was not having any formal job, so I was literally driving Uber. That was what I was doing. I was literally driving Uber. So I I said no, let me just close everything and see if I can branch to another thing. So I went. I was fortunate. I had the opportunity to go and do. another studies like a mini course at Ghana Tech Lab, which is around Circle. So it was free for me. So they were teaching about data science again. So I went through that very program, and I met another friend who is also in the US now, Wilfred, and then one other guy, Douglas. So right after that very program, Douglas and Wilfred also flew out to go and do their masters, and Wilfred was going to do a PhD. So I drove Wilfred to the airport. Then when he got there, I was like, okay, this I have to put in my time again. So I started with researching again, and God being so good, I came across what we call World Education Services. And I don't know if anyone here has come across it, but they evaluate transcript, they evaluate like foreign credentials. So I did that. So they have a free tool that lets you know when you do your evaluation where your GPA is going to be. So bear in mind, I told you I finished I finished with a 2.58. So when I used the free tool, my CGPA jump shot up to 3.2. And I was like, no, is this going to be like real? So I spoke to some few friends who supported me because I was not having money. Then I put in the real application, I applied for it. And then when I applied and they finished the evaluation came officially, it was around the 3.2. And I was like, awesome. So quickly I started applying to schools. I started applying to schools again. And uh, I don't know, Isaac is calling me. I don't know if you can hold on for me just a minute. All right, sorry. I don't know why Isaac was calling me. So so when
I'm
I
hello.
when
Hello.
yeah, you want me to pause or something?
Yes, please. I need you to kindly give us a very brief pause.
Oh, okay.
We have Brian on the call. Brian is leaving us shortly. So we want to
Oh,
engage in the next few minutes before he takes
that's
over.
okay. That's okay. I'm
So,
I'm free. So yeah, I can
okay.
pause here and then. All right, sure.
Okay. So let's,
Hi everyone.
okay.
Thank
So
you very
thank you very
much,
much,
both you and Isaac.
Aaron and then Brian. Brian, please, just briefly, kindly tell us about yourself and tell us about your study abroad journey. How did it begin? What are some of the challenges you faced? And then what tips can you give to anyone that is interested in studying abroad here? Thank you.
Sounds good, and I'm sorry everyone for interjecting. Unfortunately, I do have a shift tonight, so I have to rush off to work.
No, Brian,
But I
feel
just want to,
free.
but I just want to
Yeah.
briefly, first of all, thank you guys for this initiative. I think it's really, really important that we create these opportunities, both to share stories, but also to learn from each other. And I'm very honored to be here. Um, I Coming to America was not part of my plans, if I'm going to be honest with you. I always knew I wanted to end up doing medicine. And my goal was really to go to medical school in Ghana and then eventually, perhaps do residency abroad. But my goal was not really to move abroad. But unfortunately, right, circumstances, very similar to you, Isaac, I didn't come from a very well to do family. And my older brother had been out of high school for a number of years without continuing on to college, mostly because of finances. So right from high school, I knew early that if I didn't come up with a plan, I probably would not be able to go on to med school. So I went to Aquinas, and that's how Isaac and I know each other because we're both old Toms. And right from Aquinas in my second year, I started really looking for opportunities to further my education because I knew that even in Ghana, if I had gotten into med school in Ghana, it would be tough for me to pay for it. So I guess my first tip would be start early. I'm glad you're all on this call. So many people want to eventually explore educational opportunities abroad. A number of them are very hesitant to take the first step. And so if everyone is going to leave this session today, I would encourage you to leave with at least one action item you want to take today. And I think starting early is the first step. Um, I was then 16, 17 years old. I came to America in 2015. So I've been here for a little over a decade. Um, right from high school, I started just researching what did it require to place in the US, and also really be ambitious, right? What does it require to place in a school that will pay you to come here? And I want to set everyone's sort of like understanding around particularly how, universities think about admissions, right? Universities are playing the long game. So they are taking a bet by giving you a scholarship because what they are running on is a certain pool of money called an endowment. And so university will take a portion of that endowment and give to deserving students like Enoch and some of you, right, making a bet that in the future, when you're well established, you will donate back to the school. And in so doing, you need to be able to prove to the university that you are worth the bet, essentially. And so you have to really know what a university is looking for before you even apply. For me, that meant spending a lot of time researching. By then, I knew I had to take the SAT. So for those of you who are in high school who are thinking of completing application abroad, you have to take an exam for some sort. Americans also look at you holistically in the application cycle. And so it's not just that you're good in school or you have a great GPA. They want to know what you spend the rest of your time on, right? Are you the type of student who is a sports? Are you an athlete? Do you do research? Are you a student who is involved in a particular student group, right? So many things that we do, even things you do at church could count. A lot of times you're looking to answer questions like, are you passionate about what you do? Do you care about the communities you serve? Are you a leader or are you building leadership skills? And then finally, what you're currently doing building you up for what you want to do in the future? And how does it connect to really building the US, building your country, and then building the specific institution you're applying it to? And so for some people, that also means reaching out specifically to some faculty. A lot of universities have specific admissions office, and usually they have people whose full-time work is to answer questions. So don't feel afraid at all to reach out to a particular university program and say you'd like to speak to someone. A lot of times it's actually a very good sign because it serves as an opportunity for you to build relationships. And so I eventually got the chance to go to America. I went to Stanford for my undergrad. It was a world life-changing experience. I got to sit in classrooms with very ambitious, very kind, very committed, very influential and passionate people. It really shapes the kind of person you become, not just with a degree, but also with your mindset, the kinds of problems you hope to solve in this world, and the kinds of things you hope to use this opportunity for. I would say those are some of the big highlights of particularly studying abroad. It gives you a different perspective of life and a different way to think about problem solving, particularly. Right after Stanford, I got the chance to return back home to Ghana. We established a program that was supporting high achieving but low income students from different parts of the country to apply abroad. For me, as a mentor in that capacity, it gave me the opportunity to also hold a couple of students' hand through the grueling applications process. It's no joke. Applying to America is very competitive, right? You're competing with a number of students for a particular slot. And a number of times you are trying to make an argument for yourself. So you have to be convincing. One of the things I realized is a number of people they sell themselves short, right? A number of people hold back when they're talking about their achievements and whatnot. If you realize you don't have a number of things, I'll encourage you, start something today, start something you can talk about tomorrow, right? But also just learn how to be able to sell yourself, right? Schools will not give you money because you are poor. They won't give you money because they feel sad for you. They give you money because they think you're deserving. They're taking a bet on you. They're looking for why you can be an asset to your program or their university. And so I was really encouraging people, helping build up their confidence, particularly around applications, right? Another thing that the universities will want to hear from is not just from you, but from people who are around you, who know you, are people who have done well for themselves, who can advocate for your application. Particularly both for undergraduate and graduate applications, you would need strong letters of recommendation. And I'm putting an emphasis on the word strong. Whenever I'm encouraging or advising people to ask for letters of recommendation, the wording I ask them, I tell them first, if possible, meet the person you want to ask a letter of recommendation for in person and get a sense of their level of excitement about writing you the letter. The second, ask for a strong letter of recommendation. And the reason is because when I started medical school here at Yale, I got a chance to sit on the admissions committee for med schools who are applying. And sometimes the only reason why we would pick a student over the other is because one has a really strong letter of recommendation and the other does not. It's as simple as that. Right, in residency now, I get a chance to also sit on the admissions board. So I get to see residency applicants for programs here in the US, and it's a very similar thing. Right, so you want a letter of recommendation to be really strong. In Ghana, unfortunately, not a lot of people know how to write a strong letter of recommendation. And so I also tell people, if you're asking for a letter of recommendation, offer to draft one for the person who you are requesting it from. A number of times people want to support you, they just don't know how, or they don't have the time to write it. So that's another thing, right? Speak to people, be honest about what you're trying to do, but also offer to draft one, right? You can, in this day and age, you can use ChatGPT to help you come up with a good draft. You can read what good letters of recommendation look like, but you need one. Ideally, you want one from somebody who has taught you in the classroom and somebody who has worked with you, because they can speak to two different aspects of you that universities will be interested in, right? And so, for instance, if you're applying to, say, business school here, you want a professor who taught you economics in the classroom, who can say, oh, you know, Winifred is a really strong student. She's the student who go above and beyond on assignments and what have you. But then if Winifred has also done an internship in the real world, it will even be a red flag if she does not have a letter of recommendation for somebody she has worked with, someone who can speak to her work ethic. It will be a big plus if she can come up with a letter of recommendation like that. When I was applying to undergrad, my letters of recommendation came from my headmaster in the school, a couple of my teachers, and a coach. When I was applying for med school, it came from my professors, it came from people I had worked with whilst I was in undergrad, and it came from the program I was working on in Ghana and my employer there, right? Those help make a strong advocate for you.
So, Brian, please give me a moment.
Take your
Ernest,
time.
kindly mute yourself so that you don't interact with this person. Hello, Ernest.
Okay, I think
Well, my network is not very
So
active.
kindly
I'm
mute
trying my
yourself.
best. Hello?
Okay, Brian, I think you can continue now. Sorry for the.
sure, no worries at all. Yes, so letters of recommendation are a big part of the application process here in the United States. Um, in this day and age, with the climate of what's happening in America, I cannot talk about applying to America without encouraging you to apply broadly. And the reason why I say this is because different governments come in, they have different priorities. There's a lot of, unfortunately, anti-immigration policy in the US now. And so applying to America has just gotten so much more difficult. And so I always tell people, if you apply to America, also apply to Canada, also apply to the UK, also apply to Japan, apply to other countries in the world, because you cannot put all your eggs in America. And unfortunately, one of my best friends, he applied for a PhD program here, he got it, he was accepted, only to have his decision rescinded. That's despite that people are still coming to America, but I'll just encourage you to apply broadly now when you apply. And when people apply, there's something I like to call a wow factor that I think I would end my tips on, in the sense that multiple people have done the same thing, right? If you're applying to medical school, everybody has had some volunteer shadowing, everybody has done some community service, everybody has done some clinical rotations, everybody has done well on their exams, right? You want something that sets you apart. And a lot of times, what sets you apart is not what you would think. I can give you 3 examples. One of my mentees was when he was applying to Stanford, and around that time, Stanford used to take 1 or 2 students every year, right? The thing that set him apart, which was the real theme of his essay, was the fact that his family ran a poultry business and he was the one in charge of like taking care of the hen coop, right? That's something that it sounds so funny, right? But he was very successful because one, yes, he fed into that African narrative, right? Which a lot of times, these white people want to hear about, like what makes you unique, what cultural experiences, part of your work makes you different, right? But through that essay, he was able to show his hard work and tenacity. He was able to talk about how he was able to influence the family's business plan. He was able to talk about community building and the culture of chicken giving in Ghana and stuff like that, right? So don't underestimate some of these other things that you may think do not make you stand out, because sometimes they do, right? For a number of people, it may be traditional things, right? For me, when I was applying to undergrad, my wow factor was that when I was in high school, we had developed a wood ash generator, right, that the family was actually using to power themselves. This was in the height of doomsday in 2014, right? A number of it, and I spoke about the engineering process that led to developing the generator and what have you. That's what made me start out. When I was applying to medical school, by then we had started a health professionals program in Ghana that I'm currently running called Akomapa Health, where we take students and we pin them in communities and we do ethical leadership training and whatnot, right? That's what made me stand out from medical school. And then in residency, I was really talking about some of my other global health initiatives, right? You will need something like that that makes you different, something that you will not be able to get in any other student. And so I really encourage you, don't sleep on your interests. Don't sleep on some of these things that you do for granted. Like, sell them as well. Those could very well be the reason why you get it, right? I think I'll pause here and I will quickly, head out. But Isaac has my email. I'm happy to share that for anyone who has any questions and be able to answer them. Okay. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your session. And I'm sorry I have to head out now. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much, Brian. That was very insightful. So start early. That was the key thing that I picked from this particular conversation. And then you also shared a lot from your journey and even your experience sitting on the board that helps with admission. So we are really grateful. Let me just chip this in that Aaron, that is the executive director of Young Champions Global Network, is also an OTOM. Yes, he's also an OTOM.
Oh, I'm very glad to hear.
Yes. So Dr. Evans Mirku sent me a text a while ago. He's also in a hurry to join another meeting urgently. So Aaron would have to keep you waiting a bit longer. So kindly pardon us and bear with us. And to everyone on the call, everyone on the call, we just listened to Dr. Brian from the US, and then Dr. Mirku from the UK is speaking with us in the next few minutes. There's going to be time for question and answers. In the meantime, you are free to share your questions in the comment section. Let's kindly keep our mics muted. Right after Dr. Mirku, we are going to have a few questions before Isaac J and then Aaron Boateng speak. So thank you very much. Dr. Evans Mirku, kindly tell us about your journey. How did you get into the UK? And then what are some of the challenges you face? What are some advice that you give to anyone looking to get into the UK, particularly into the medical or health field? Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much for the opportunity. It's a privilege to be here. I want to just thank the organizers for inviting me to be part of today's webinar. It's an honor to share my journey with all of you. You know, whenever I receive invitations like this, I don't see them as opportunities, but I simply tell my story. And I like the fact that you are asking me to share my journey with others. So I would say that among everyone listening today, I'm sure there's surely somebody who is wondering whether studying abroad is possible. You know, I'm sure there's someone who thinks they are not good enough, they don't have enough money, or don't even know where to start. And if my journey can convince just one person that their dream is possible, then I believe that this conversation has achieved its purpose. So for those meeting me for the first time, my name is Dr. Evans Mirku. I'm a medical doctor by profession. I completed my medical degree in China before moving to the United Kingdom to pursue a master's degree in public health at the University of Sunderland in London. During my studies, I had the privilege of serving as the president of the Public Health Society in the UK, and while also gaining work experience in the UK healthcare sector. So I want to talk to you today beyond certificates and qualification. If you are ready, please kindly let me know so that we begin.
We are ready.
Thank you. I just want to make it more conversational. Now, people often think that studying abroad begins when you receive your admission letter. No, it doesn't begin from there. Studying abroad begins with a decision. So a decision that your current situation will not define your future. So growing up, I've always wanted, or even as you said, I've always believed that education could change lives, not only my own life, but also the lives of the people who were around me. And that belief made me dream beyond my environment. You hear stories of people saying, "Oh, I come from a very bad background. I come from this." To be honest with you, I didn't come from such backgrounds. I had certain opportunities, which may have also shaped my journey up there. But then also, it gets to a point where you realize that if no support is coming, what are you going to do? Because you can come from the most blessed family on earth, but then your decision actually depends on you. Sometimes I get lots of messages. People say that my dad is making a decision for me to go and study here, to go and study here. What do you think? The moment I get that question, I also ask the person that, what do you also think? What do you think? Because have you sat down to think of what you want to do before you came to tell me whatever you said to me? So I'm just saying that, a decision is made by you. Whatever you become 5 years from now is dependent on you. So it begins with a decision. And a decision that your current situation will not define your future. Yeah, I really believe in education so much growing up. So, like many young Africans, I wanted exposure. I wanted to learn from different cultures. I wanted to challenge myself. I wanted to experience education from a global perspective. And those dreams eventually took me to China because that was my first stop. So, if you're wondering why I got to the UK, it started from China. So, many people ask me why I chose China. Well, the answer is simple. China offered quality medical education, international exposure. It gave me an opportunity to experience one of the fastest developing countries in the world. And studying medicine there completely changed how I viewed education because I met people from different countries. I learned different cultures. I learned a new language. I had to adapt completely to a different lifestyle. And at first, everything felt strange. Different food, different weather, different language, different teaching methods, different culture. Imagine moving thousands of miles away from everyone you've ever known. No family, no childhood friends, no one to even cook your favorite meal. Yeah, you quickly learn independence, you learn resilience, you learn responsibility. So, medical school, why medical school? Medical school is not easy. Medical school anywhere in the world is difficult. It demands discipline, long hours, sleepless nights, clinical rotations, examinations, practical assessments, and all that. But you see, there were days I questioned myself. There were days I felt very exhausted. But every challenge reminded me of why I started. So I would say that always remember why you started, and that will help you to continue the journey. One lesson I learned early was this, that motivation starts the journey, but discipline finishes it. So you see, you can have an idea on what you want to do, you can have a vision or a decision that you want to take. But what will start your journey is the motivation that you will get. And what will help you finish your journey is the discipline. You won't always feel motivated. Some days you will study because you feel inspired. Other days you study simply because you promised yourself that you won't give up. If I tell you what happened to me in China in my first year of medical school, my second year of medical school. So imagine me being in the same school with a group of people, my classmates to be precise, and then I move all the way to my second year. And in my second year of medical school, everybody from my class gets promoted, and I am the only one who gets demoted. Was it because I wasn't intelligent? Was it because I didn't know anything? That wasn't the situation. But then tragedy happened. So here lies the case that they're telling me that they can't find my exam paper. Whatever thing I wrote, they can't find it. Therefore, there's nothing to mark. So it means I failed the course. How are you going to explain this? Imagine this is a major setback and it can easily make you feel like giving up. And trust me, I was very well known on campus. So it meant that I needed to repeat a year to go and sit with my juniors. Did that make me feel like giving up? Yes, of course. Who would want to go and sit in a class with his juniors when he knows that he's well known in the school too? And you can imagine the kind of shame you feel. What will people think about you? They'll be thinking whether you are intelligent or not, or what happened. Hey, so this guy, as he's working on campus like that, and Charlie, those kind of vibe. But I had to overcome that by the grace of God. And I was determined that I needed to finish. No matter what, I will finish. No matter what will come my way. Yeah. So I didn't give up on that. I had to keep on moving and moving and moving and moving. And by the grace of God, I was able to finish medical school successfully. And Why did I come to the United Kingdom? So after I qualified as a medical doctor, I realized something important, that medicine treats individual patients, but then public health prevents entire populations from becoming patients. And that completely changed my thinking. So instead of asking, how do we treat diseases, I became interested in asking, how do we prevent diseases? Because medicine is about treatment and public health is about prevention. So I chose to do a master course in public health. Someone can just decide that, you know what, I've qualified as a doctor already. I mean, what else do I need? But I told myself that no, I want to go further. I want to just experience something else. I want to do more. Yeah, because I understand the things that comes with, public health. Why do some communities experience higher diseases rates than others? Why do health inequalities exist? How do governments even create healthier populations? So these questions inspired me to pursue an MSc in public health in the United Kingdom, and that's currently where I live now. You see, the UK has one of the world's most respected education systems, and I wanted to experience it firsthand. So my experience in the UK, studying in the UK was very difficult. It was very different from my previous education. The lecturers don't simply give you notes to memorize. Instead, they challenge you to think critically. They expect you to question evidence, to analyze research, to defend your opinions using scientific literature. And at first, it felt very overwhelming. Assignments required extensive reading, like referencing had to be accurate. Every claim had to be supported by evidence. But gradually, I adapted. Yeah, I adapted. And that's something many international students experience. You don't have to be perfect on your first day. You simply have to be willing to learn. You just have to be willing to learn. So one thing I encourage every international student to do is to get involved outside the classroom. Education isn't only about lectures. I became the president of the Public Health Society, and that experience transformed my university journey. You see, leadership taught me communication. It taught me project management. It taught me teamwork. It taught me conflict resolution, networking, public speaking. And these are skills employers value just as much as academic qualifications. Sometimes the opportunities you receive after graduation come from the relationships you built while studying. So, in as much as we are talking about studying abroad, what we shouldn't also leave out is the fact that you need to develop a certain kind of lifestyle that even after you are out of studies, that lifestyle can still open more doors for you. Because I tell you, character will open doors that even your schooling will not open, not only from your grades. Yeah. And I will tell you, the biggest challenge I faced, you see, people often see graduation pictures, they don't see the journey behind them. And I believe that's why this webinar is going on. One of my biggest challenge was finances, because studying abroad is expensive. There are tuition fees, accommodation, transport, food, study materials, unexpected expenses. Sometimes you go to a university where they don't have a student accommodation, so you may have to rent outside the campus. Yeah, unexpected expenses. There were moments when I had to budget carefully. Another challenge was adapting to a completely different academic system. Then came loneliness, being away from family. Sometimes you miss even the birthday celebrations, the family gatherings. You see, you learn to become emotionally strong. And another challenge that many students face is balancing work and studies. Many international students work part-time while studying. You see, let me tell you something. People can tell you that, oh, don't worry, when you get your visa and then you get to the country, you get work. It's so easy. Don't let anybody tell you it's easy. Otherwise, when you get there and it's not easy, you easily get disappointed. So start building it from your mind that, going there, you know that it's a battlefield because you're not the only one looking for a job. There are thousands of people looking for the same job you are looking for. So recently, I told one of the guys I am mentoring that, you see, when you apply for a job, the first thing that should come into play is that have a thought that, you know what, the job I applied for, it's not like I have a sure bet that I'm going to get it, except maybe a prophet has revealed to you that that job is yours. But know that there are thousands, 10,000s of people applying for the same job. And if you happen to get it, you'll be fortunate. Now, what kept me going? Whenever things became difficult, I reminded myself why I started. That's why I told you in the beginning that make sure you are always reminding yourself why you started. I surrounded myself with positive people. I asked questions whenever I didn't understand something. I wasn't afraid to seek help from lecturers. I remained involved in university activities. Most importantly, I stayed consistent because consistency beats intensity. Yeah, you don't have to be extraordinary every day. You simply have to keep moving. And during my journey in school, one of the things I never took for granted is volunteering, because you see, most international students think that the only thing that they need to do is to travel outside their country, go and start studying, get a job, and then get money. No, you need to learn how to volunteer. Volunteer in different organizations you can find yourself, whether on campus, whether outside of campus, because after your graduation, these volunteer experiences that you've had will open more doors for you than you think. I was fortunate to get an opportunity to volunteer with the United Nations, and that experience changed a lot for me after graduation. Some of you see me online or social media and all that, and you're like, "Oh, Dr. Evans, I want to be like you. I want to." No, I don't want you to be like me. I want you to be you. But you can learn some of the processes, you can learn the steps, you can learn what exactly to do to become you. So I'm here to tell you how you can study in the UK. This is probably one of the most common questions that I receive. So let me just simplify the process to you. See, step one, know exactly why you want to study. Okay, step one, know exactly why you want to study. Don't choose a course just because somebody is going to do that same course. Yeah, don't choose a course because your friend chose to do it, or your friend says that, oh, I did this course. There are some parents that can easily tell you that, oh, my neighbor's son is a doctor, so you must also become a doctor. I know most of you go through that a lot. You may not say, but that's the truth. Yeah, that's the truth. I've had lots of complaints about that. Oh, this one is studying this, so you to go and do this. Choose something that aligns with your career goals. So the first question is, do you have a career goal? If you don't have a career goal, then you don't have any business studying abroad or even studying anywhere. You need to have a career goal, and then your career goal would actually help you choose the course you want to study. My second point I'll give you is that you need to research universities. See, when you're researching universities in the UK, one of the things you should do is look at the course models, look at the rankings of the school, look at the tuition fees, look at the graduate employability, look at the location of the school, look at the scholarship opportunities. Choose a university that fits you. Everybody wants to study in Oxford. This one's I want to study in Cambridge. I want to study here. But you see, the question is that does this university truly fits whatever thing you want to do? It's not about the big names. Yes, the big names may help at a point, because if you tell everyone, "Oh, I studied at Oxford," we're like, "Wow!" But I know people who studied at Oxford, and today they are jobless. Who cares about the university they went to? Yeah. So what you should actually have at the back of your head is that, okay, I want to study. What is my career goal? Secondly, okay, this school or this course I want to do, which school can actually help me to be able to do this course properly? Because there are other universities in the UK, which isn't Oxford, which isn't Cambridge, which isn't London School of Science and whatever. But then these schools actually also give you, in fact, I'll tell you, the school that I graduated from is the University of Sunderland. Okay. Now, this particular school, when I was done with my course, I graduated with distinction by the grace of God. And my lecturers actually decided to support me in getting a job to do. They ended up pushing, like, I can just be there, and these lecturers will be pushing a lot of things to me. But I know a friend who attended Oxford, and today he's still jobless. Why? Is it because he's not intelligent? No. But choose a place where if you go, you'll be able to get help properly. Oxford can actually give you that help. Cambridge can give you that help. Anywhere you go, you can get help. But then look at you. You see, look at where you are, and you know where to go. That's one thing I will tell you. My third point would be that make sure you prepare your documents. You see, normally you need a passport, a degree certificate, academic transcript, your CV, personal statement, reference letters, English language evidence where it is required, because not all schools actually require you to have an English language evidence. Yeah, sometimes if you did your course in English, they will just waive that for you. Yeah, sometimes they'll just waive that thing for you, and then you wouldn't have to go through the stress of, going to write a IELTS or anything like that. Yeah, so you need to research the school you are going for. Don't waste time applying for a school, paying for application fees and things, and then later you realize that they're asking you to go and write IELTS, and then you'll be crying, saying that, oh wow, am I supposed to go through all this stress? So do the research very well. Do the research very well, you know. And my other point would be that after you're done, you can submit your application. Because you see, many UK universities allow direct application through their website. You don't always need an agent. You don't always need an agent. Some agents will take your money, and you will not also get admission, and you will not also get a refund. In fact, I encourage students to learn the application process themselves so that they can understand every single stage. Yeah. I have students whose applications got denied because some schools run interviews. So when they were called up for the interview and then they were being asked questions on whatever thing that they applied for, they couldn't answer because they are not the ones who filled the forms. So you need to learn the application process yourself, and it will help you understand every stage. Now, how do you write a strong personal statement? You see, your personal statement tells the university who you are beyond your grades. Don't copy from the internet. Tell your own story. The course that you want to go and do, explain why this course, why this university, why are you planning to do that course now? What impact do you want to make after your graduation? Because you see, admission officers read thousands of applications, and how authentic you be is what will make you stand out. Yeah, how authentic you be is what will make you stand out. Someone may ask, oh, what about scholarships? Yeah, how can I study abroad on scholarship? The first thing you need to understand is that, you see, scholarships are earned. They are not wished for. You can't wish, I wish I have a scholarship. They are earned. And universities invest in students who demonstrate potential, strong academic help. You need leadership helps, volunteer work. You see, volunteer work is very important to me because you can actually get a scholarship because you volunteered with an organization. I have lots of students who have received scholarship because of that. Community impact, your research experience. You can't just be there sleeping, waking up, eating fufu, and then you come and say you want scholarship. You need to do something. Yeah, even though you are being patient, that one day God will do it. But let me tell you, patience is not the ability to wait. Patience is what you do while waiting. So while you're in the waiting process, what are you doing? You can't just be there and be wishing, oh, I wish, I wish, I wish. You need a compelling personal statement. You need to read more about how to write a good personal statement or a good statement of purpose. Yeah. So examples of scholarship I recommend to you. There's a Chevening scholarship, which I know is much popular. There's a Commonwealth scholarship. There's the Great scholarship. There's the Gates Cambridge scholarship also. I think Clarendon Fund is also there. And then there is the Rhodes scholarship also. Yeah. Please, can you hear me? Someone says you can't hear me.
We
Yes,
can.
we can.
Okay. Thank
Yes,
you.
we can hear you.
There's also the Vice Chancellor scholarships. So most universities actually provide partial tuition discounts for international students. So always check the university scholarship page before applying. Never assume that there isn't funding available. Almost every university have funding available somewhere. You just need to take your time and check. So where can you find these opportunities? I'll give you a few websites. Study UK, that's the British Council website. You can find it there. UCAS, you can find it on UCAS. Find the Masters is also there. Prospect is there. University website. Opportunity for Africans. I think on LinkedIn, there is a page like that. And then scholarship position is also there. Commonwealth Scholarship Commission website. Go to their website. You find scholarship opportunities there. Set aside time each week to search, because opportunities rarely come to those who wait. Yeah, they come to those who look, not those who wait. So let me save you from mistakes that I have seen many students make. Don't wait until deadlines. Don't wait until deadlines. Don't apply to only one university. Don't write one personal statement and send it everywhere without tailoring it. So you write one personal statement, you send the same personal statement to Oxford, you send the same thing to Cambridge, you send the same thing to King's College, you send the no. Make sure you tailor every personal statement you send around. And don't also ignore scholarship requirements. When you want a scholarship and you see certain requirements, make sure you fulfill every part of it before you apply. And I'm going to advise you, this is very, very important to me because I've seen it happen a lot lately. Don't believe every piece of advice you see on TikTok or Facebook without verifying it. Please, I beg you guys in the name of God, don't believe every piece of advice you see on TikTok or Facebook without verifying it. Because a lot of people come online, the UK has changed their immigration rules. Now they are saying this, the UK has done this, that. But those of us in the UK, we don't even receive such news. Yeah, because sometimes when I see those things, I get a little bit agitated. I'm like, why are you destroying a chance for people to also come and experience whatever thing they want to experience? So please, before you see anything like that online, make sure you verify it. When I look back today, I realized that the greatest lesson wasn't academics. It was personal growth. Studying abroad taught me resilience. You see, it taught me that success is really comfortable and growth happens outside your comfort zone. So don't be in your comfort zone. Do not be in your comfort zone. And the last thing I will say before I hand over is if you are listening today and you've been dreaming about studying abroad, don't let fear stop you. Yeah, every international graduate you admire once sat exactly where you are today. They had questions, they had doubts, they worried about money, they worried about visas, they worried about leaving home, but they took the first step. You don't need to have everything figured out. You simply need the courage to begin. Remember this, your dreams are valid. Your background does not define your destination. Your current circumstances are temporary, they are not permanent. So invest in yourself, keep learning, keep growing, keep applying. When your opportunity comes, be ready. Make sure you keep applying because for all you know, the opportunity you're about to get is just one step away from when you decided to give up. Maybe do the next application. That will be your breakthrough. So I want to thank you guys for listening to me, and I wish every one of you success in your own study abroad journey. I hope to see many of you in the UK and around. You can reach out to me on my email, drevansmiracle@gmail.com. Just send me a hello if you have any questions. You can also search me on LinkedIn, Dr. Evans Miracle on LinkedIn. You can just reach out to me and then I'll respond to you. Thank you so much for having me. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Evans. That was very insightful. I really like where you mentioned that you didn't just start from the UK. You had to go through China. You had to adapt to working and studying at the same time. And one thing that stuck with me was when you said consistency beats intensity. Like I think that is very important, and every young person here should keep that in mind. I want to know if there are any questions for him so that we can have him answer before he finally leaves us. Just a few questions, just one or two questions. Please raise your hand so that I give you the permission to speak. Thank you. Okay, Teresa, you have the floor now.
Thank you for the opportunity. Dr. Evans Merkel, please. Good evening once again. Thank you so much for your inspiring us. I'm a public health officer, worked for 5 years experience, and I want to study further my master's education in the US. But then I was thinking of trying to the UK, but for the UK, the deposit you have to do is the traveling. So I want more insights about that aspect. Thank you.
Okay. So with the UK, yes. In fact, almost every school requires you to pay a deposit before they will issue your certificate of acceptance studies. Why? Because they believe that when they offer you the CAS or the CAS, as they call it, and you use that to get your visa and you enter the UK, you are likely not to take the school serious because most people usually do that. So I would advise that yes, in as much as you may be wanting to study in the UK, it's part of the requirements that they want you to do before you come. I wish there was another way around it, where you can actually waive it, but you cannot waive that because without that, you cannot receive your certificate of acceptance studies, which means you can't actually apply for the UK visa. And I will also advise that anybody willing to come to the UK, I don't know how ready or prepared are you, but for those who have a mind of coming this year, I would advise you to speed up your chemical reaction. Why? Because from December, and this is a verified information I'm giving you, from next year, a lot of things are going to change about the study process in the UK with the immigration rules and all that, because if you want to study masters in the UK, it's to me, I would say that the duration is good because it's just 1 year. Every master course you want to do in the UK, mostly it's just 1 year, then you are done. Unlike maybe other countries, you may do 3 or 4 years and all that, but here it's just 1 year and then you are done. Then you can go about your life. And then when you are done, you are also able to get 2 years postgraduate work permit or study visa, graduate study visa to continue your life in the UK. But that 2 years is going to be cut down to 18 months, which is 1 year, 6 months from January 2027. So if you want to come to the UK, I will advise that you actually speed up your chemical reaction and enter. But then with the deposits, to be honest, I wish there was an easy way around it, or there was a different way around it. Yeah, so I don't know. Which school have you applied for, or which school did you get?
Please, for the UK, I've not started yet because of the deposits we are requiring. I've not started yet, and I want the schools that they have low tuition that I can. But then it's only the US that have started because of the deposits in the UK. So I don't
Okay.
know if I get some of the schools that they are low tuition and I'll get funding scholarship.
Okay, let me drop my email here, and then you can reach out to me on that. I will give you a few recommendations. So that's my email. You can just reach out.
Okay, Doc. So thank you very much. But I think Alan has a question.
Sure, Alan.
Alan's question. Then there's one question in the comment section before you leave, please.
Okay,
Thank
no
you.
problem. That's fine.
Yes, it's good evening, good day, depending on the time zone that each of you happen to find yourself. Yes, please, I wanted to ask, and I apologize if the question I'm asking has already been addressed because I think I joined, but I had some issues with my network. Yes, so please, I wanted to make inquiries with regards to the application process for masters and graduate studies. Um, how does GPA really factor in? Most especially, let's say, how does GPA factor in? How does leadership factor in? And how does extracurricular activities factor in with regards to scholarship, as in full scholarship, house scholarship? I just want to know the extent to which they factor in so that maybe if I'm to plan my stuff accordingly, I do plan them accordingly. So if you could
Okay.
kindly help
All
me
right.
with that. And I'm specific on the UK. I'm really interested in the UK. So if maybe you like
Okay.
Dr. Evans, you could share light on that.
Okay. Yeah. So I would say that applying for a school in the UK, yes, these things really matter a lot. You know, the factors you've given, they really matter a lot. Your leadership skills, your background, what you do, and all that, they really matter because you see, it's a competition and everybody is applying. So what makes you stands out from others? Like like you have to give that particular thing that makes you different from everyone. Everybody is applying. I remember when I was applying for my master's, one of the things that I think helped me was because I could speak Chinese. Yeah, because I speak Mandarin. So on my application, when I was putting my personal statement out, I wrote it there that, oh, and also I have a skill that I speak Chinese here. And so with that, how I got to know that that really mattered is that when I had my interview, they asked me about it. Yeah, I was asked about it that, oh, you stated here that you speak Chinese and we are really interested and would want to know how best can you, help our students, our Chinese students on campus. So you see, that thing alone helped me. And yeah, when I got to campus, and sometimes the Chinese students, when they're speaking to them, they can't really understand the English. Some Chinese people can't speak English. So then I'll have to go in, step in and do all that. So I would say that whatever skill you have, whatever, put everything on your application. Every single thing you have. Everything you have, just put it on the application. Never think that a skill you have is not important. Never ever think a skill you have is not important. Even if it's communication skills, put it there. Yeah, put it there. Because everybody applying is just coming to present their best self, to try and act, or I would say they appear so generic, but you should be extraordinary. Add something to your application. Add something to it. Even in getting a scholarship is very, very important. Yeah, because almost everyone I know who has gotten a scholarship in the UK, there was something spectacular about them. Yeah, I have a guy, one of my students, he could just put together some electronics and then bring out and then just create a robot or something. Then when he was applying for a scholarship, he just stated there that he has a skill of this and that into robotics and this, that, that, that. He got a fully funded scholarship and he's studying in Scotland now. Yeah. So I think that with everything that you mentioned earlier, I can't recall some of the things you mentioned, but all the qualities you mentioned are very necessary when you're applying for a school. Because if you just, I mean, yes, applying for schools, getting visas and all that, it has to do with favor and grace, but also hard work is part of it. Because in as much as God will do the supernatural, when God told Noah to build an ark, he just gave the instruction and threw the strength to Noah that go and do this, which meant that Noah could do it. But the natural part was Noah himself going to look for the wood to come and build the ark. If the natural part was not done, the supernatural wouldn't have happened. So the natural part of you is applying, and the supernatural part of you is the favor and the grace that will come upon it. But please, every skill you have, every hidden thing you have, make sure you put it out there. That's why I always tell people that have a skill aside education, have a skill, have a skill. Yeah, you can learn graphic designing, and just graphic designing can open so many doors for you abroad. Because as you are coming, you'll be surprised that when you're done with school, right, whatever thing you studied is not even the field you're working. Yeah, there was a time I wasn't even working in the health field. If I tell you what I was doing, you'll be very surprised. But because I had the skill in that, I was just interpreting Chinese and I was getting paid. And it has nothing to do with me, anything related to health. So whatever skill you have, use it. Yeah, GPA also accounts. Because what I'll tell you here is that even if your GPA is low, okay, and you have certain achievements from your school, it can actually help to push it up for you. Yeah, if your GPA is low and you have certain, let's say, prizes, achievements, you've been honored and all that, those kind of awards and, certificates, if you have all these things, it can actually help you. They can overlook your GPA and then just give you an opportunity. Yes, but GPA really, really counts. It really, really counts a lot. At least just last week, I know 3 people who have been rejected because of their GPA. Yeah, so it really, really matters. It really matters a lot. So I don't know, but if you think your GPA is very low, what I'll do is that I'll also look for schools. In fact, I will send you guys, those of you who are interested, you can reach out to me on my email. I'll send you schools that maybe your GPA will not really be a bother if you apply. Yeah, but there are some schools, if you apply, one of the first things they look at is your GPA before they even continue. So I'll give you a list of schools that GPA will not really be a problem when you apply. You can just add 1 or 2 skills and then you're good to go. Yeah. So I don't know if I've answered your question or maybe I left something out.
Oh, great. Thanks so much, Doc. You exhausted the question perfectly. Because of time, we'd have to wrap it up here.
Yeah, sure.
So Doc's email address is in the chat. It has been pinned. So those who want to reach out to him should kindly send an email, or you can send it can send a DM to the host, right? I'm sure most of you are from the WhatsApp page. You can send a DM to the host. We are going to assist you to contact any of the speakers that you'd like to reach out to. So, Doc, could you kindly give us your final words before you leave us? Just like 2 seconds, please. Thank you.
All right. So my final word will be that just start. Don't wait for anybody. Just start. Start today. Start now. Just start now. That's it. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much once again, Doc. Thank you. A round of applause for Doc. He'll be leaving us shortly, but his email address is right there. It's available. He's also available via LinkedIn. Yes. Okay. So we started with Aaron Boateng, who is the Executive Director of Young Champions Global Network, organizers of the Study Abroad webinar. And he's also in the US. He went there as a student, and he's still there. I'm sure he's going to tell us much about it. So, Aaron, I want you to tell us in about a minute, tell us about how the NGO ties into your journey, your study abroad journey, how it all started for you, before you go into how you started the journey, the challenges you faced, the WES, transcript evaluation, and everything that you were telling us earlier. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much once again for the opportunity. So yeah, with the vision of Young Champions Global Network and how it tied into my study abroad. So Isaac is my junior brother. Those of you who don't know, we are brothers. So and we both attended Aquinas. So one thing that after graduating from UCC, one thing that I realized that I think I should put it out there for others to like not to repeat the same mistake is some of us grow like we are first generation. And when we talk of first generation, it's like maybe you are the first person to do this thing in your family, like the first person to travel, the first person to ever attend high school, or the first person to ever attend like your first degree or something at university. So I was a first generation because none of my senior brothers attended high school. None of them has ever attended a university. So because of that, I didn't have a clear guidance throughout my education. And so when I went to Aquinas initially, I was reading general science and I was doing awesome. Like I was a good student on Aquinas campus. But then along the line, so because like it was an MP for Tishi that was looking after me at that point. Make them stop disturbing. That was sorry by the way. That's my son disturbing at the background. So uh, this MP was the one taking care of me, and then she happened to lose her seat during the election, so she traveled to the US. And at that point, that was almost my final year for me to prepare to write the WASI, and I didn't have any support again. So I was like, oh, if this support has left the system, like my life, then if I even apply to the university, because I was thinking that if you read general science, then you have to do medicine. That is the only thing you can do on this earth if you read general science. And like I said, because I didn't have any kind of mentor in my life and I didn't have anyone to look on, so that made me to quickly change my mind. I went to the headmaster to go and change my program. So in my final year for me to prepare to write the WASI, I changed my program from general science to business. And I used just 1 year to prepare for the WASI in the business field. I wrote it, I passed very well. And then I went to UCC. So because of that, I said, no, I spoke with Isaac and I told Isaac about the vision that this is it. We want to create awareness. We want to help people and not only like for those who don't have like a prototype or people in their lives to mentor them, but even people who have like senior brothers and sisters, sometimes they overlook some of the advice they can give them or some of the advice they can get from them in building up their careers. So that is why we set up uh, this very NGO to go out there and especially to villages. And with that aspect of the NGO, we've not delved into it. We are still preparing the grounds, and hopefully in next few years to come, we will start launching into the villages to go and present like items to them and then teach them, help them to be able to grow academically and then also create awareness in terms of our health. And Isaac and his team is doing awesome things. Yeah. So to my journey now, I with a transcript evaluation, and I love what Dr. Evans was talking about that with GPA. So there are some of the UK schools. If your GPA is not good, they are not going to accept you. The same thing applies to whether Canada, any of the destinations, whether Australia, US, or Canada, or wherever it is. But one thing that I say is, there is a saying that cut your coat according to your sizes. Now, there are a lot of destinations that has been shared, and I know Isaac AJ will also be talking about Canada very soon. So after everything, you want to sit down and then align everything where like where you want to be in the near future. Look at the policies and things that are surrounding the immigration styles of those very destinations. And then after that, pray to God for God to guide you because He is our ultimate guide. That is those of you who are Christians and those of you who believe in God. Yeah. But if you believe, whoever you believe in, you want to pray, you want to invest prayers into this because you don't want to end up at a place where at the end of the day, you will find yourself lost and you might even end up committing suicide or any like there are things that can make you lose like your dignity if things become very difficult. Okay. So you want to check that. One of the things that I said is that be strategic.
Every time they're lined up.
Hello, Isabella. Can you please mute up?
Together.
So one of the things is be strategic about the choice of school. So I think Dr. Brian spoke about that. Dr. Evans also spoke about that. if you come to US, so I'm speaking specifically for US. If you come to US, there are thousands of schools in US, and there is a school for each and every one of you who is on this line today. There is a school for each and every one of you, and the program you want to do. And so don't. If people are applying to Stanford, Harvard, and the rest, maybe their application packet qualifies them for that point. Don't input in your time and your money, resources, and other things applying there because you get bounced. So that's what I did. I knew my GPA wasn't good. So when I did the evaluation, my GPA shot to 3.2. Quickly, I started shortlisting schools that value my application packet. And I put in everything, like Dr. Ivan said, put in everything that you know is relevant to whatever you want to do. Sell yourself to them. Because as a graduate student, you get a chance to be employed as a worker. Okay, you get a chance to be employed. So you work for the university and the university pays you. Then you use some of those monies to pay your expenses. And most of the times, your tuition are already covered. So all you are going to pay is just fees. Okay, just fees. And when we talk of fees, I know it will sound weird. Like you said, my tuition is paid. So which fees? So like the way if you attend University of Ghana, UCC, University, and the rest, we have tuition. Aside the tuition, you pay fees like SRC fees, bus fees, like maintenance fees, and those kind of things. Those are the fees I'm talking about. So the university pays you, employs you. So make sure that you sell yourself to them so that you can. So I came here as a graduate teaching assistant. So I was teaching pre-calculus to freshman students, those who are doing their undergrad, and then I get paid every month. And then when I get paid, I take some for my rent and other stuff. Yeah. So make sure that you are strategic about the choice of schools. The next thing is take fear away and knock every door. So one thing about the US, when I came, one thing I realized is that every professor, no matter how high they are in terms of their qualification, they always respond to people. Like they, ask them the question. The thing is, there are scholarships that are there that if you don't knock at the door, if you don't ask, they will never tell you about it. Even me, when I came here, there were things they were not telling us. Sometimes we have to go and knock on dean's office doors. We have to go and knock on international offices for them to tell us that there is this scholarship you can apply for. And then I apply, I get it. I apply, I get it. So like take fear away and make sure that you knock on every door, because even Matthew chapter 7 verse 7 says that ask and it shall be given unto you, seek and you'll find, knock and the door will be open. So knock every door. If you don't get a scholarship in this very department, don't say that, oh, then that is it, I'm leaving it, I'm not going to do it again. Knock on another door, because your skill might be relevant to another department, not only your department that you're applying to. Now, with the US, applications are looked holistically. So if I say holistically, they are not looking at only your GPA. They are looking at your GPA. They are looking at your extracurricular activities you did of campus, like you were an SRC president, or you were an SRC marketing director, or like Deborah is like moderating this very program. You can put it on your CV or your resume that you do more, like you are a good communicator. See, these are the things that you put on your resume or during your statement of purpose, when you're writing your statement of purpose. And then when they look at all these things, they look at the entire application as a whole packet. So they are not going to base on admitting you based on only your GPA. They are going to look at part of your GPA, part of your extracurricular activities you did, part of the skills that you have, and part of the things you can bring on board. So make sure that you put everything that you have done in this life, make sure you put it in your application, depending on whichever area, whether it's your statement of purpose or is your resume that you are submitting. Then graduate students work while being paid. Okay, so I've spoken about that. And then I said, be very intentional about your choice of program. So I'm going with this one, I'm going to highlight it too. I'm going to hit on it again. And I said, be very intentional about your choice of program. It's not every program, especially in US, that can land you better jobs when you graduate. If your main goal is to come in school and after that you leave back and go back to Ghana and then implement whatever you have studied, that is perfectly fine. And if you think that when you get back to Ghana, you will be relevant in terms of what you have, then that is perfect. But if you're looking at staying for longer and to build up something before you go back home, then I'll advise you that you look into the STEM programs. So like science, technology, engineering, mathematics. any program in these very areas, you want to look into it. If you are doing anything outside that, like communication, there are ways you can tie communications into a STEM program. Okay, so these are some of the things that you want to look at, because right now, if you come to like US and you are done with a program that is non-STEM, a program that is non-STEM, you have just 1 year to work, and after the 1 year, it's either you go back or you continue with a higher education. And if you came to do your bachelor's, then after your 1 year, you can choose to whether do a master's or do a PhD. If you did a master's, then you can choose to do a PhD. You can do a second master. And if you did a PhD, then that is it. If you are done with the 1 year, your only option is to go back. But then they also have pathways. If you want to be a permanent resident here, there are many pathways that you can use to become. And those ones, I mostly don't want to talk about them. I only talk about them when you get yourself into the land. That's where you look into those areas, but not when you are starting to put in the application. So be very intentional about the choice of your program, okay? And then the final thing that I would say is that build strong and healthy relationships while studying. And I don't know how much I should hit on this. Build strong and healthy relationships. And I'm underlining the word healthy, because it's not all relationships that are healthy. But when you build a strong and healthy relationships with people around you, when you go for internships or even with your professors, they can open doors that you yourself, you might not even see them to even knock on them. So let me use myself as an example. So last year I was about completing, but then I delayed my graduation to this summer. So last year I was about graduating, and then my supervisor uh, connected me to a high school principal, because I was looking at after doing my finishing my master's degree in mathematics, I want to go and teach high school for a while before, if I'll continue whatever I want to do. So he connected me to a principal of a high school around, and then we started communicating. I went to the principal's office. We had some vibe and other stuff, and then we kept like having that kind of conversation. And to God be all the glory. When I started looking at jobs, I started applying for school to other schools and the rest. And today, I've landed that job, which I'll be starting in August, God willing. So you see, some of my colleagues are complaining, oh, we are applying to jobs, we are not getting, we are applying to this, we are not getting, no one is even calling us for interview. But because of the relationship that I built with my supervisor, who now connected me to this very principal, I got this job. And literally the interview I went to do, it was just like two people, and it was just a conversation. It was not even like a formal interview that like you have to be in tie and like five people on the panel and they are grilling you and those. No, it was just like a conversation. And right after that, they told me that, oh, we are going to recommend you for a hire. I came home and boom, they sent me their notice and everything, and God being so good, I was starting in August. So build strong and healthy relationships while you are studying. Don't only focus on the books, because your certificate, there are some doors your certificate cannot knock. Only relationships can knock. So make sure you build a strong and healthy relationship. I will end here, and if there are any questions, then I'll take them. Thank you, Isaac and Deborah.
Thank you so much, Aaron. I would hand over to Isaac so that he could go from here.
Okay, so thank you very much, Aaron, for sharing your journey and highlighting some of the things that are very important. So I recall you talked about being intentional about the course that you choose. You talked
Yeah.
about building relationships while you are studying in the US, and
Right.
a whole lot of things that our audience can take from today's conversation. Um, we have Isaac Ajay from Canada on the call, but before he comes on, I see some hands. Olivia's hand has been up for over an hour. Olivia, please, what do you want to find out? What is your question? Okay. Hello, Olivia.
Yeah. Hello.
Yes, kindly
Hello.
speak. Yes, kindly speak.
Okay. Good evening. Aaron, thank you for your story. I must say that it has been amazing and insightful. My question is, what if you do not have any volunteering experiences? What do you do? If like you have, if you are already a graduate, what do you do?
Okay.
Okay.
So, please, before one comes, there's another question. I want us to just take it at once,
Okay.
so that we can. A gentleman raised his hand. Can we speak? Is it Tena?
Yes, you're right. You're right. Good evening, sir.
Okay.
Good evening. Thank you,
And,
Aaron, for the
and then
session.
the last one would be Esther, please. The last one would be Esther, and then we can wrap up with Aaron before Isaac takes over. Thank you.
Okay. My question is directly to Mr. Aaron. So, sir, I'm a Nigerian, and I've learned that the USA currently has placed Nigeria on a particular ban. So, how the Nigerians who are passionate about applying for schools in USA navigate this path, or should we look for other routes rather than USC, or what should we do at this moment, sir? Is there any other alternative?
Okay, thank you for your question. We'll respond to that. Esther, kindly ask your question. You be the last one, then everyone can answer them. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Aaron. And I don't know if mine is a question or in the case whereby you did your first application and upon everything, nothing went well. And the motivation that I started with in the first, I've lost all. And now I'm thinking of even applying to any university in Ghana here to do my master's program. And in this case, how do I best uh, generate that multi energy that I got from the first place? And I'm trying to use all mechanism that I used for the previous one. Now I don't have the energy for the second applications again because I got so many opportunity, which at the end of the day I lost all of them, which I
Oh,
don't know what to do.
all right. Thank you very much for your questions. Is it a Esther I know?
Yes, it's the style.
Oh, okay, all right. I guess you picked the link from my
Your
status.
status. Yes.
Okay, that's good. All right. So Esther, all hope is not lost. So let me start answering it from behind. So I do Esther and then I come to the next one and then to the last one. So with Esther, I have been in your shoes before. I did my first part of applications, 7 schools. I got rejected from all the schools. None of them even gave me admission. None of them even looked at my face. And there was even one professor who told me that with your GPA and with your application, there is no way you can study in any of the US universities. And when I got this, it was like a blow to me. But one thing that I love is a challenge. Anyone that gives me a challenge in my life always puts me at the point of becoming a success, like a success person. So back in Aquinas, people told me that I cannot use the 1 year to write the business like WASI and pass well. And I told myself, I told the headmaster then that I'm going to pass and not just pass just like that. And I graduated well, very well by God's grace. The same thing happened when this man sent it. I told myself that because of what he has said, I'm going to school. And today, here I am. By God's grace, I was able to bring my wife here. By God's grace, I have my son. And if I look at all the things that are happening in my life, if I were to be back then and I've listened to what that professor said, I would have still been in my small beginnings. I would have still been struggling by now. Okay. So Esther, whenever armies go for war and they fail, they don't just admit that they fail. They come back, they retreat, and they re-strategize. So what I'm going to tell you is to sit back and re-strategize. Now, one of the strategic things you can do is, like you said, you started applying for schools in Ghana. You can do a short master's program, like I know Gimpa do like one year master's program or something. Do a 1 year master's program, add it to your bachelor's, and apply for a PhD straight. And most of the PhDs you can easily get like full funding. Another thing is whilst you are schooling or while you are pursuing that of like applying to start a 1 year master's program in Ghana, don't still overlook, other US schools. Still be looking at some schools, re-strategize to other schools. Don't just focus on that very school that didn't give you the or gave you admission, didn't give you funding. You can look at other places as well. Okay. Esther, are we there?
Yes, yes, yes. But I
Okay,
got
so
funding,
let's.
but then it is immigration. I didn't get dates for interview. And as I speak, I have funding, but I don't have date. That's another
Oh,
thing.
so you got a funding, but then the visa, there's no
Ye-
date for you to
Yes,
attend a visa interview.
yes.
All right, don't give up. I know they are going to open, so just defer the program. And I know sometimes when you defer the program, you lose your scholarship, but let's still trust God, okay?
I've
And
exhausted all my deferrals, so I have to start a new application.
oh my God, as well. You let's talk after this very meeting, okay?
Okay.
All
Okay.
right, then we go to the other person. So the other person was a Nigerian, and he was asking about the immigration stuff that are happening now. And yes, the immigration stuff that are happening for the Nigerians, sometimes when I sit down, I sometimes cry for them because of what they are going through. I have Nigerian friends here, and there was one Nigerian guy who applied for his OPT, what we call like a document for you to pay like work, like a work authorization. And for like 6, 7 months, he was not hearing anything. And that was when all these things started. So if you're a Nigerian and you're on this call, what I'm going to advise is don't look into the US for now, because even getting visas in Nigeria, I know they've closed or they are about to close the Abuja embassy. So please, I wouldn't advise any Nigerian on this call to look into US for now. As at now that like immigration staffs are very tough for Nigerians. You can look into Canada. Canada is a very flexible country that you can look into. You can look into UK as well, that Dr. Ivan spoke about. And Canada, Isaac AJ will be talking about it very soon. So pay attention to when Isaac AJ starts talking about Canada. So for all the Nigerians who are here, then that would be my advice for the person who asked about the Nigerians. And whatever you asked, it was true. Like there are things that are happening now, and it's not going to favor you as a Nigerian. Okay. Then the first person was talking about, I don't have like the extracurricular stuff. I don't have those kind of things that I've worked on in my community. And so what do I do? And I've already graduated. So what I can tell you is play a role. See, there are NGOs around. By God's grace, you even joined this very call because of an NGO that organized it. You can reach out to Isaac after this and ask Isaac any role you can play. See, we don't mind whoever it is. And if it is possible for us to write even a recommendation or write something for you when you are applying to schools that, oh, you have worked with us with this number of years or you have worked with us in this capacity, yes, we are going to write it for you. Do you understand me? Whoever asked that question, are you still around? Let me be very sure so that I know I'm not speaking into the air.
Yes, please, I am here.
Olivia, good, Olivia. So after this very call, please reach out to Isaac and Deborah. And if possible, and the roles they are playing, you don't need to be physical unless we are organizing physical programs and other stuff. But there are some roles you can play at the background that you can bring them, like you can include them on your resume and other stuff. And then another thing is, now I know if you're going to apply to US schools, your window will be to start in 2027 for the fall 2027, because that's when they give scholarships. And so you don't want to start in the spring. So you have like a 1 year ahead of you. I will advise you to use your 1 year profitably. Now, one of the key things you can do whilst you are volunteering for NGOs in your environment or your vicinity. Another thing you can do is to take online courses. Please, these are key things. Online courses in skills that can build, like communication skills, like marketing skills, like most of the things Isaac learns when he's managing this very NGO. He learned them online. How Isaac can market like your products for you. You see, so these are some of the skills he has garnered, and he didn't learn these skills in the classroom. He learned them online. So please, it's not only to Olivia, but any other person who want to build, like you want to build something that you can include on your resume. Don't take online learning out of it. There are a lot of things you can learn on Coursera. There are a lot of things you can learn on Allison. There are a lot of things that you can learn. So please make sure you jump onto them and use your time profitably. Don't sit on social media scrolling for like 30 minutes whilst you have not learned something for 30 minutes in that day. Thank you very much if I've answered all your questions.
Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome. All right, over to you, Deborah and Isaac. I think I've answered all my questions.
Okay, thank you so much, Aaron. We'll have you come back after Isaac speaks to give us your last word.
Okay, sure.
Okay, so next on our list, we have Isaac from Canada. He's the CEO of eWorld Travel and Recruitment. He's going to give us a brief summary of his journey, how he got to Canada, some challenges he faced, and tips he'd want to leave us with. So, Isaac, the floor is yours now.
Thank you very much, Deborah and Isaac. Okay, so I want to commend everyone who joined the session today. It's a good initiative you've taken to invest in yourself and your future. And I also want to commend the NGO for this impactful program. So I'll first want to introduce myself as Isaac Ajay, as you rightly said. I'm a certified career development practitioner with a license both from the US and Canada. So with US, I'm with the International Organizations of Professions Organization, International Association of Professions Organization as a career coach, and with Canada, I'm certified by the Career Professionals of Canada. Also, I am the leader of eWorld Travel and Recruitments in Ghana. So my study abroad journey began way before I actually understood what it was. Let me say, I had the vision and the dream, a burning desire to study abroad when I was in high school, but I just didn't know where to begin. So I was just trying every avenue available. Then it got to a time I had to close that chapter of my life and just figure out something that I could do, something more realistic. You got it? So I entered into business. I've taught in the classroom before. I've done a lot of things, a whole lot of things. But the very last business I built in Ghana before leaving was the travel consultation. How did it begin? I had some nurses who wanted to travel abroad, and I just decided to help them look for an opportunity. So helping them look for an opportunity gave me an opportunity, which I used to start my business and eventually travel to Canada. But I wouldn't want to talk more about myself. I would just want to touch on a few things here that will be very beneficial to the attendees. So let me start with Esther. Esther, you said you have funding for US and you are not getting the dates. Is that what you said? Is Esther still here, please? Yeah.
I think he's gone, but like, yeah, that's what she said.
Okay. Since she's gone, let's just proceed with those that are here. So I want to talk about visa issues. Yeah. I want to digress and talk about visa issues. Digress from the moderator's question and talk about visa issues quickly, because I know a lot of people want to know about these things. And since that is our expertise, why do I want to talk about visa issues? No matter the amount of funding you have or whatever, if you don't get a visa, you are not coming. Whether it's US, it's UK, it's Canada, the immigration is very different from the education institution you have your issues with, right? So you can be cleared with the education institution and not have visa. And it's very painful because just last month I had a consultation with a guy from Mankasim in the central region. He's been denied visa to the US twice, even though he had funding, full scholarship. He was denied visa. Why? Because, as I said, the immigration is very different from the educational institution. So you can meet the academic requirements and not meet immigration requirements. So quickly, there is difference between what we call a permanent residence. That's what we call it in Canada, permanent residence. US calls it green card, right? Very popular. And UK calls it indefinite leave to remain, a whole other. There's difference between that permanent residence permit and a study permit. A study permit is a temporary resident visa. Temporary resident. Emphasize laid on the first word, temporary. So it is a visa issued specifically for a single reason. So if it's a study visa, it's issued giving you to study. And you are expected to return to your home country at the end of your studies. In some cases, in many cases, For Canada, for instance, we have a lot of institutions that makes you eligible for post-graduation work permit. UK has the same, US probably. You can work after school if you met or if you complied with the rules and the policies regarding the study visa. So we have people who apply to schools in Canada. The school makes them eligible for post-graduation work permit. However, at the end of their studies, they were not eligible to get that work permit to stay and work. Why? Because they didn't comply with the requirements of their visa. Are you getting it? Yes. So immigration will not assess you based on what could be. Oh, they are assessing you on what is available to them. That is why you need to be very much informed. So after the time you are applying for your study permit, after, let's assume you've already gotten your admission, you have your everything right, to get the visa, to get the study permit to come, there are things you need to look into. Immigration will be addressing the number one thing called immigrant intent. Since the permit they are going to give you to study is a temporary resident visa, they want to penalize you for any reason they feel could motivate you to want to stay beyond the duration of your visa. So what is immigrant intent? Anything that raises eyebrows that, hey, I think this guy is not going to return at the end of their studies, they are going to refuse your visa. So what are some of the reasons they will base on their decision on whether to give you a visa or not for study purposes? You must have a strong and consistent purpose or reason to study in that country. Someone studied business administration, and all of a sudden he says he's going to study healthcare in Canada. This disparity could be the reason your visa is denied. So it is always safe for you to do your master's in the same field you studied in Ghana or related to. For instance, if you studied business administration in Ghana and you come into Canada or any other country and you're going to study economics, international business, marketing, it's in a related field, you are safe. If not, you will have to write a compelling statement of purpose with strong reasons for that diversion or that digression. For instance, I had my bachelor's degree in theology and I came to Canada to study business administration, but I was able to give them a compelling reason that I have a business in Ghana. And my business, thank you, Isaac registered my business for me with the Registrar General's Department. So I used those documents that this is the proof of my business, my bank statements, tax clearance. I gave them all these reasons. I have a business and it makes sense for me to want to study business administration in a developed country like Canada so that I will return to my home country to run my business. I will be using Tree every now and then because I know this webinar is going to be online and I don't know who is going to access it. And the information we are going to say. They want to hear you, give them reasons, tell them, convince them you're going to return to your country at the end of your studies. So that is one thing that really disqualifies people. And I heard Dr. Evans said some guys were refused visa. I don't know whether it was visa or admission. I missed that part because during the interview they couldn't defend the information they had. Yes, of course, that is what it is. If you cannot tell me you applied to this school for a master's program in psychology. The guy applied for a master's program in psychology, and his first question was, "What is psychology?" And he couldn't tell what psychology is. What do you mean? You apply, you've studied 4-year bachelor's degree in your home country and you really want to study masters abroad and even got a scholarship and you don't know what psychology is. Then it simply tells them you are not the one who did the application. You've just made up, like it raises our eyebrows, credibility issues. They can't allow you if they can't to a certain extent predict the impact you're going to have on their country positively. Yeah. The second thing you will want to address will be your financial situation. This may not apply to you only if you got a scholarship, but every other category you use, you will really have to address your financial situation. I won't spend much time on that today for the sake of time, but the next thing you want to address will be the significant ties to your home country. I already told you a study permit is a temporary resident permit. So you have to return to your home country after studies. What is going to motivate you to return to your home country? That is what we call home ties. There are many ways to prove your home ties, which we cannot talk about today for the sake of time. But we will find a better time to discuss those issues. So let me quickly round it up. You must have a strong vision for if you really want to study abroad. It begins with a vision. Bringing it back to the question, it has to begin with a vision. Even the Bible says, as far as you can see, I have given you. So you can't just randomly wake up one day and find yourself abroad studying. Hey, what kind of magic is that? It begins with a strong vision. When you have the vision, I know, of course, that's what you have. That's why you are here. The very next step I would recommend for you will be finding the right people. Okay? Because opportunity is hidden in people. And till you meet such people, you may never know such opportunities exist. I think Aaron made mention of that as well. So connect with people, but not just any people, any person, but connect with the right people. Dr. Miles Monroe said, some people are experts in error. Some people know the wrong thing too well that they will convince you to believe in what they are saying. Meanwhile, it's wrong. So you might want to connect with the right people who can give you the right information, share the right resources with you, and you can take it from there. That will be the very next step for you. So attending such a webinar as this is very good opportunity. Don't let it end here. If you go to the LinkedIn page of this organization, you will see all the speakers from US, from Canada, from the United Kingdom. Connect with them. Connect with them. Connect with them. One thing I've seen with most immigrants in Canada, for instance, not just Canada, especially those who came from Ghana, they have a heart to help their home country. You know, they have a heart. And if you listen to the stories, I didn't want to talk more about my story for the sake of time, but every one of us at least have gone through something. So we really understand. The Bible says Jesus sympathizes with the weakness of humans, right? Because he became a man and he knows what it means to be a man, right? So everyone who has gone through a similar situation as you may have the heart naturally to help, even though they are busy. So try to connect with the right people with the right information to help you. And then the next thing I'll recommend for you will be preparation. You're going to put in personal effort, personal pursuit. I once connected with a lady in the study abroad group IGN created. The lady was an engineering graduate and was looking for work, blah, blah. You know, because of these things we do, we are connected to a lot of sources. I reach out in the group that, hey, whoever it is, that person should connect with me. On Saturday, I gave the time, around this time. Could you believe I canceled certain appointments just to share a word or two with this person, and the person couldn't make it to the appointment? Do you know what it means for me to lose 30 minutes or 1 hour of my time where I am here? Oh my God. Oh my God. We had to reschedule. And unfortunately, I didn't have the convenience of rescheduling that appointment. That was the end, right? So even before you connect with someone to look for information, to look for resources, you have to be ready to put in the effort. Some of those efforts is to be timely. Just be timely. If you can't just keep your time, then I'm sorry. I don't think I can make time for you another day, right? Yeah. So you have to be ready to put in the effort. There are some people, I give them resources, I give them links. Just go and read about it and come back to me with questions. That was the end. They never returned. I am not going to follow up on you, right? I'm not going to follow up on you. So that will be the end. Some people expect you to do everything for them. Like after sharing the links with them, they want you, oh, can you apply for me? No, I can't apply for you. It takes a lot of effort. And the effort I have taken on my end to do is to research the links, the resources, the information for you. When I share the resource with you, I want you to capitalize, leverage on that. Just put in your effort. Prepare something, bring it to me for review, right? So you got to be ready to pay the price. Pay the price. Whoever you connect to is going to be a mentor. They are not going to do the work for you. a mentor simply guides to do it this way, that way, that way, they're not going to take the lead role. No, nobody is having the time and the convenience to do that. That is why probably you've not been able to leverage on any relationship, because when you make friends and when you connect with people, you're expecting them to take the lead role and figure out your life for you. No, not even your own kids are you able to figure out your lives for them in these modern days, right? So please be ready to put in the effort. Some of you, it may mean you going back to even better your grades. Some of you, it may mean you going for English proficiency assessment. Some of you, it may mean you going for GMAT, like GMAT, GRE. It depends on your situation and your status. It could mean, like I think Aaron mentioned, you could even take a master's program in Ghana so that you apply for a PhD. Why? Depending on the path you want to take, yeah, there might be some sacrifices and efforts you need to make to help you get there. So that is the third thing I'm sharing with you. I recommend that you got to be ready to put in personal effort, personal pursuit. You got to be prepared. Yeah, what's the fourth thing? You must have a strategy. You must have a strategy. What do I mean a strategy? It is very competitive to study abroad. It's very competitive, whichever, regardless of the route you're going to take, which I'll talk about some of those routes, it's going to be competitive. So you must have a strategy to make you stand out. And I think Brian also mentioned that you got to stand out, right? So you must have a strategy to stand out beyond the effort. These are some of the ways. Number one, you could have the financial capacity yourself, or probably like your family is helping you financially and all that. I would say that is a self-funded route. Whether you are paying the tuition fee and everything yourself or your family is supporting you, is still self-funded. Number two, you could be privileged to get a scholarship. And let me tell you again, scholarship is very competitive. It is very competitive. Please don't just receive motivation without a caveat. It's very competitive. You are not the only person in Ghana who wants to study abroad. And Ghana is not the only country whose citizens who want to study abroad in these big countries, top countries, right? So it's gonna be very competitive. So if you are looking for a scholarship, you gotta be ready to put in the effort again, as I said previously, and you gotta connect with people who know how to guide you, right? But just know that it's possible. It's very doable. It's very possible. I'm not on scholarship, but I've shared scholarship resources with a lot of people, right? So I wasn't eligible for a scholarship. That is how I'll put it. But I knew, or now I know how to get a scholarship for others. So that is a possible route. Number three, the third route that you could use will be international student loans. Yes, that is also possible, especially for United States and Canada. It's more possible for US than Canada. There are a few institutions in Canada that makes you eligible for international student loan, but there are tons of them in the United States. If you want to study in the US on international student loan, it's very possible. After your school, they're going to give you like up to 10 years. I'll just give you the updated information when you connect, right? Usually it's about 10 years after school to pay back. It's working. Even Canadian citizens here, I work in a college here in Canada, so I have first-hand information of whatever I'm talking about, okay? I work in a college. So even the Canadian citizens, permanent residents who are citizens and are not going to pay too much fees, they are still going for student loans. Simply because some of them don't know the funding or opportunities available to them. Just yesterday, I connected a lady, a Canadian citizen, to a funding program in Canada that she didn't know about. So, it's for citizens and permanent residents. And I wasn't eligible when I was studying, but I knew about it. I connected a student to a funding program. But I'll tell you, the vast majority are also using international local student loans as well. So if you're an international student and you want to use those loans for yourself, it's not a bad thing to do. It's very possible. You just have to understand the pros and the cons. You can leverage on that. And the fourth pathway I could recommend for you, and then I'm and I'm a coach in Minya Crampanka, I Jimu Pusia Muni Honifrim, where it's in a Muni Honifrim, because and Obia Bible class said not all men have faith, not all men are reasonable, right? And you'll be on a joining seminar way because of information. You'll be moved joining because immigration issues be bracy or UK are policy changes because now Ghana for one Casado. What I say, secret be used to be an only a nobody a caught na TikTok. Unsa me travel agency at least 4 years and so me call TikTok beam that. Me started here for the first few I was on TikTok. I left TikTok because I shared too much sensitive information. I'm in person about team patcho. Fourth one on a friend contract our and our parent here. international student fees ni boy den. So about Canada, averagely international student bet you about 3 or 4 times the Canada ni no local citizen and as a permanent resident ni boy den. Because oh mama and consume mom until tax mom ye into buy and yeah what we until fees so ma ubetia the normal fee also utiano enti no se kwame upese okosua de o US na adwa nso pese oko US na se mumienu mo kam ho bom ze o ya warefo ba ko benya study permit me pacho na ba ko anya work permit na mo ache sika na tua simple. What you say? Especially mba no more chance. You mbema bebre organ na omo galam say omo sika billions sika dada no. O person ko US. Oni kwan bi obefa so akọ. Oni krata bia. Ba won so akọ school ukura first class and second class upper. We hu. Enti mo kam ho bomu a te say o ya warefo sebi eno nkyere se mo ne obi nkokoda na da bi. E krata ewi ase we ye hwehwe evidence ye hwehwe no kore. E krata ye de ato so pan mo akọ baby. That is also possible. Why am I sharing these resources? Because you got to be adaptable. In Canada here, I founded an organization called Alumental. Alumental was founded on 9 principles. The first one is adaptability. You got to be adaptable. What is adaptability? Some people are focusing on US, like the Nigerian colleague, focusing on US, and you know very much that the immigration policies are not going to favor you. Why should you still resist? You got to be adaptable, buddy. Look at Canada, look at the United Kingdom, look at Australia, look at New Zealand, right? So adaptability. And some of you, all the 3 options I gave may not work for you, except for the 4th one, which I said in my local dialect. I'm sorry if you don't understand it, I don't care. And Alumental was also founded on the 9 principles. The first one is adaptability. The second L, it means learning. You got to learn. That's why I told you to connect to the right people, can give you the right resources, right information, so you can learn, right? Seek mentorship, network with people, teamwork, resilience. So these are some of the things I would share with you, but I would want to end it here for the sake of time. Yes. So I will end on the note that be adaptable. Don't just look at Canada. Of course, Canada is one of the best places to study in the world. Why? Because if you apply to a school, that makes you eligible for a post-graduation work permit, and we will tell you, hey, these are the rules. Don't break any immigration rules. So at the end of your program, you'll be eligible for post-graduation work permit. Post-graduation work permit gives you the opportunity. It's an open work permit to apply to any company or employer here that you're eligible to work for. And you could get yourself a permanent job. Once you get yourself a permanent job, you can apply for permanent residency and you can move forward to apply for citizenship. So it's very straightforward, right? Very, very straightforward. US has a similar path, which I won't spend much time talking about it. UK has a similar path. So just look elsewhere. And also, some of you don't have, you are not eligible for any of these 4 routes that I mentioned, whether it's a self-funded, whether it's a scholarship, whether it's international student loan, or Bakuna Mekano Chimono. But at least you might want to start from, I started from Dubai. I worked in the real estate sector of Dubai. If you sell one house in Dubai, it's enough to cover your tuition fee for the entire 4 years in some cases, right? So someone started from China. So you got to be adaptable, start from somewhere and get to where you want to be. I will end here and allow just 5 minutes for questions, and I will share some free resources before I go.
Thank you so much, Isaac. That was very insightful. So we'll take a few questions and that'll be it. I think Jude's hand is up, so begin with Jude.
Okay, Isaac, thank you for this delivery. It was very insightful. So mine isn't like a question, but then I need an advice on something. So as you said, you started a business and you leveraged that to do business, like steady business in Canada. I don't know if I'm getting it right, but yeah. So I didn't do business in uni. I have a first degree, but it's not in a business field. Yeah, but then I want to divert because I'm very much interested in doing business. So I want to divert. So this idea I had in mind from all everything Aaron said and yeah what everyone said. I want to like start a business. I have a business that I've been planning to start for a long time now. I want to start taking short courses like maybe a marketing course, and then with that, maybe a master, a course in the business field for maybe a year, and then continue to do my PhD. Yeah, so this is the idea I had in mind. So I don't know if you could
Okay,
enlighten me on something.
I
Yeah.
get it. So that is why you need to connect on one-on-one. And whoever is part of this, whoever joined this meeting today, I'm willing to give you free consultation, 30 minutes assessment. It's probably going to be in the weekends, but I'll give you the office line in Ghana's number. You call them, you book an appointment with me with a coupon code. It's going to be free. You don't need to do anything. You are not obliged to retain me to represent you anywhere. I need you to get the right information because I have too many people coming to me reckon like they've already lost their chances before they came. For you to go to US twice and be denied visa, you don't know what the implication is going to have on your long-term dream of traveling abroad, because the US is connected to Canada and they share direct immigration information. Beyond that, there are 4 ICE countries, which includes UK and is it Australia? Yes. Also, they can request for your immigration information. So once you wreck it before you come for help, it becomes difficult, more and more difficult to do. I'm willing to give you consultation, get the information, whatever you want to go do with it, do with it. So free consultation. That would be the best for you. Why? Because you may not need to start a business. For instance, I was passionate and I already had a business. So I just leveraged on my business to study business administration. So getting a visa, you must have a strong reason. If you studied in that field and you are just continuing your studies, pursuing higher studies in that same field, it becomes consistent. Or the alternative is whatever occupation you are having now, you could use that, you could leverage on that to do a program. It's very, very, very realistic for someone to finish a political science program in Ghana and not getting a job, or, politics is by relationship. He doesn't have anybody in governance, and therefore his father's pharmacy is working there. And now he wants to go study pharmacy. So whatever you are having as a job now, your current occupation could also be the means. It could be a strong reason for you to want to study in that field. So we have to assess you, right? But these are the two main things. Either you studied in that field or you are working in that field. It makes it reasonable for you to apply for a course abroad in that field. Any other question? Yeah.
Thank you so much, Isaac, for giving us insights or more details into Jude's question. Is there any other question, or we'll have to call it a night?
Roland.
Okay, so we'll take Roland's question, and that will be the last question for this evening. So Roland, you can speak now.
Can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
Hello.
Please go ahead, Roland. We can hear you.
Okay, thank you. My regards to Aaron for his submission today. So a quick one. I've been trying to apply to grad school in the US. Looking forward to also divert into Canada as well, since I'm not getting the funding that I need. But and I'm happy to hear you talk about you sharing information about you consulting you about it. So apparently, I tried to speak with some professors to see if I can actually get some funding opportunity. And everyone being here can attest to the fact that I reached out to him and he even connected me to a guy. But fortunately, the time difference and the availability is not that there. But we are still hoping for the best. And as a grad, as a person who wants to enter into this venture, when it comes to funding, and you know how the situation here in Ghana is, sometimes you have to pay for application fee. There is encouragement for us to continue with this journey, but though the funding is not that there. So how do we convince them very well so that in terms of maybe even the waiver codes that we can get, some don't even want to share the waiver codes. They will tell you that we don't give it. So how do we actually convince them so that they will actually get us opportunity for us to come and study there? Because we are still pushing the agenda and trying to put in the effort to get the funding that we need for grad school. And if you can throw more light on the Canada application too, I'll be very glad. The requirements, what they do, what it entails, the SOP, what needs to go inside it before one can also get the Canadian opportunity.
Okay, thank you very much for the question. So I would want to recap what I said on the 4 routes that I think is very realistic for any Ghanaian or African to use to study abroad. Self-funded option. You got to identify, are you going to fund your program yourself, or with the support of your family, it still belongs to the self-funded category? Were you referring to scholarships? Scholarships? So can you clarify whether you're referring to
Yes, I'm
self-funded?
referring to scholarship. I don't have the
Perfect.
self-funded. Yes.
Okay, so for scholarships, you got to research the institutions that are offering scholarships, and you got to do the research in advance, because sometimes, like I think Aaron mentioned that is going to probably be somewhere fall next year for US. Most of the institutions are going to give scholarships. So you start reading about their requirements, and you have to match their requirements against your strengths. How do I meet this requirement? How do I meet that requirement? How do I meet that requirement? How do I meet that requirement? If I don't meet the requirement, how do I bridge the gap? How do I bridge the gap? That is why some people have to study GRE, GMAT, just to be proof that I meet this, right? That is why Aaron had to do transcript evaluation. What is transcript evaluation? Your transcript was issued by your institution in Ghana based on the regulations available to it. By you applying to an institution in US or Canada with different regulations, how do they understand your marking system? So you use an international platform to evaluate your transcript, assess it, and weigh it against their standard. And it will tell you, oh, when we weigh it against our standard, I think you are very much qualified, right? That is transcript evaluation, what it's all about. And in UK, most of the bachelor programs are 3 years, for instance. 3 years. And the masters, they said it's 1 year. So if you've had a 4-year bachelor's and you evaluate it against their 3-year program, you realize you are first class already. Right? So you have to research first and know the requirement of which program you are trying to apply. How do you meet the requirement? If there is a gap, how do you bridge the gap? Then it becomes more personalized to you. So your journey might be different from the other person. The other person might have full academic qualifications like first class. Then maybe when we come to other co-curricular activities, he doesn't have any. That is when Aaron recommended start doing other things beyond academics, like you got it. Or a more realistic way, I would say, if I have first class, I may not need a lot of other things to add up. But if you don't have first class, you have second class, you might want to leverage on other things aside from raw academic qualification to give you a strong reason. So it's personalized again. It's personalized. Feel free to come for free consultation. You can take my contact details from IGM or the moderator. They will give it to you. And once they say you are from this organization, from this meeting, you're going to have free consultation.
All right. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you so much. Please, Roland, thank you, but because of time, we can't take extra questions.
Yes.
Yeah,
what you can do is you can text your question in the chat box. That is one option. You can send a DM to me, either using the contact on the flyer that is displayed on the screen, or you can text any of the speakers on LinkedIn, their names, right? The same names you can see are the same names they are using on LinkedIn. Those are some of the options you can use, or you can also reach out to us on WhatsApp. I'm sure you are coming from one of our communities, so you can reach out to us on WhatsApp, and we can also assist you to access any of the speakers. So to reiterate, before I hand over to Aaron and then to the moderator, we've had Dr. Evans Meku from the UK. We've had Isaac Ajay, CCDP from Canada. We've had Aaron Boateng from the US. We've had Brian Fletcher, who is also a medical officer at Yale in the USA. They've all spoken to us about their study abroad journeys. Some are on scholarship, some are not on scholarship, but whatever the case, there is a way for everybody. There's someone here who is asking whether there's a chance. Yes, there's a chance. Please, Deborah is a lady, okay? But there are 2 people using Deborah's account because of convenience, okay? Thank you so much for the question. So we're going to have Aaron speak shortly, but I just want to tell you about the NGO. So Young Champions Global Network was founded by Aaron Boateng and myself a few years ago. And what we are seeking to do is to be able to give as many people as possible information, okay, to come out of whatever challenges they find themselves in, to dream and to achieve bigger things. We have several wings and several things that we are doing to help young people within Ghana, Africa, and the world at large. So if you are looking for an opportunity to volunteer to add value to society, you could consider coming through Young Champions Global Network. How do you do that? You can go to ycgnetwork.org, ycgnetwork.org. That is our website. There is a form that allows you to fill a volunteering, like to offer yourself as a volunteer, right? So you can use that form and then you reach out to us. So on this note, I'll call on Aaron and then our moderator, who is Deborah Opoku Intumi Apia, a digital banking professional with GCB. She'll be taking us right after Aaron. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. So we want to thank everyone that joined and I've stayed till this very time. And I want to thank all the speakers, Dr. Evans Miracle, Isaac J, who finalized everything, and then Brian, Dr. Brian as well. So God richly bless all of you. And my final words to everyone that joined. See, I love what Mr. Isaac said. He gave out almost all the routes that you can use. And you just have to be strategic and know which one is going to work for you. And the last strategy he gave, actually, I also kind of shared it with a friend who literally didn't go to, I think he ended in high school or something, and even the high school didn't get a certificate. And I told him the same thing. You are very strong on traveling. You don't have the school route. So this is the best route. If I were to be in your position, maybe that's what I would do. So yes, the road, we all have a common destination. Maybe you want to be in US, you want to be in Canada, you want to be in UK, you want to be in Asia, you want to be in Europe, wherever you want to be, there is a destination. Remember that the same way, if someone is going to a marketplace, someone can use route A to get to the marketplace, someone can use route B to get to the marketplace, someone can use another route to get to the marketplace. But at the end of the day, they will all get there. That should be your focus. So just be very strategic, and make sure that you put in the effort. Don't relax. Some of us, when we were back in Ghana, we realized that if we were to relax, it's not going to help us. Looking at where we want to get to and looking at the family we are coming from, if we don't take the mantle into our own hands and begin to work and pray assiduously for God to intervene for us, it wouldn't help us. Like, it wouldn't work out for us. So we have to put in everything, and laziness must be taken out of your dictionary. You just make sure that you keep knocking, you keep moving, don't be static, keep moving, don't be stagnant, keep moving. And then one day it's going to happen out for you. And it's my joy to see almost everyone who joined this very platform making it and going to any of the destinations to study and reaching out to say that, oh, thank you for this very program you organized. That is why today I'm also in this country. I've done this, I've done that, I've done that. And then that is going to be our joy. So that will be my final words for everyone. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much. So keep moving, don't give up. Keep moving, don't give up. Thank you so much, Mr. Aaron Boateng. As we come to the end of today's webinar, I'd like to sincerely thank each and every one of our guests, and to you, our audience, for making time off your busy schedules to join and listen, and also bring your questions so that we can get them answered. And a special thank you to my co-moderator, Mr. Isaac Game Maulum. Yes, he's the president of Young Champions Global Network. And then again, we have the YouTube link in the chat so that we can all have a recap of the whole session. So please don't forget to tap on the link. It will take you straight to our YouTube channel and you would find a recap of everything we've spoken about this evening. Thank you so much for joining. It was really lovely having you all this evening. God bless you all and stay safe.
Okay, bless you too. Bye bye.